Hi guys, I'm glad you found me here on this video. This is actually part number 2 and it's relating to reasons why you might think that you don't have ADHD even when you're thinking that you might. So you might be at the beginning of your journey where you're thinking, oh, I might have ADHD, but these are all the reasons why I probably don't. Or you might even have been long diagnosed like me and still think from time to time, do I really have ADHD? Like maybe I'm just putting it on, maybe I don't need all these supports. So if that is you, this is part number 2. And because about a year ago, I came up with 4 reasons that we might get into this kind of mode of thinking. And that video ended up becoming like a 45-minute video. Way too long. So I finally edited. As I said, this is part number 2. So if you'd like, you can go back and watch part number 1 and also watch this one. So here I share in total 4 reasons why we go through those periods of doubt. And well, this is the last 2 reasons. So here goes. Enjoy. So by the time we are in our adult years, well and truly, right? And we suddenly start thinking, oh, I think I might have ADHD.
But I'm really not sure. But I might have ADHD, but I'm really not sure. But I might have ADHD, but I'm really, 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 really not sure. And I'm really not sure.
It's like, so it is no wonder, okay? It's no wonder because there's so much almost against you to begin with. Like, not only is other ADHD symptoms similar to other mental disorders or trauma or stress, but you may have developed numerous self-accommodations in your life, and therefore some of your behaviors may not be ADHD style because you're using these self-accommodations to get through the day and through the week. Thirdly, you might actually have learned to mask when you got too much, or when if you only had ADHD, right? So, and I've only touched on 3 main things there. So it's no wonder that most people with ADHD would still sometimes go, do I really have it, or am I just kind of fooling everyone, Now, one of the things that helps me to just remember that I really do have it. And okay, first of all, before we even go there, why is it even important to really know whether you have it or not? Like, as in, I've been diagnosed. Why can't that be enough? I've got a full-on report from my psychologist. Why can't that be enough? Right? And still I go, do I really have it? Do I really have these needs? Or am I just being spoiled? Okay. The reason why it's important is because on top of these 3 things, there's society. The 4th one would be society is against all these behaviors that are actually irresponsible behaviors for a neurotypical person. But for a person with ADHD, they're not actually being irresponsible. They're just living with the brain that they do have. So but the person with ADHD goes through life being told, oh, you're so irresponsible, I'll tell you. I was irresponsible, I was impulsive, I was not organized because I would pull all-nighters to write the assignment, right? You get told, you have the potential, so much, you have so much potential. Why don't you live and work up to your potential? Why can't you be more like your sibling? Like, why are you so childish? Why are you so, I don't know, you were an embarrassment to us tonight, you and your hypo self. Hello, I got another phone call from the school today. What have you been up to? You're misbehaving again. And so this is also... Sadly, I relate just too much to that side of having ADHD. And so you get told a lifetime that you're just, ultimately, you hear all the time that you're just not good enough. and you have to grow a thick skin. The thick skin comes in the form of being the funny one, being silly and embarrassing yourself and pretending that you don't care that you've just embarrassed yourself, being rebellious and defiant. Why not? Just all of that. Now, so when you've been brought up being told all of these things, right? Because number 4, society is against all these behaviors. By the time you're well and truly an adult, you're still operating under those beliefs. Jess from How to ADHD talks about this ableism that people with ADHD we can have towards ourselves. The next thing I wanted to talk about was why can't I think right now? ADHD mind blank. I'm just gonna pause because I have to think. Okay, I'm back. I remember now what I was going to talk about was one of the things that reminds me continually that I really do. Am I recording? Yes, I am. Okay, cool. Oh my gosh, I've done that so many times where I pause and then come back and then it just doesn't record anything. Okay, so one of the things that helps me get through isn't even the fact that I have the diagnosis, right? But it's this. It's that one of the many things that they look at when trying to get you diagnosed is whether you have had ADHD traits present from childhood. And I definitely did. Like, my report cards always said, if only Alicia could concentrate better, or if only she could focus, or Alicia's got potential, but she needs to, sit quietly in class and all of that. So by the time I was in high school and just chatting away, never knowing how to just be quiet in class and being thrown out of the classroom when it got really bad, separated from my one friend in the classroom, very annoying. And all of that rubbish, that behavioral rubbish that I had to go through. By the time I got to there, really what actually happened was that it was kind of missed in primary school in the first place, because I was always the daydreamer, or I was always just not finishing work because I'm just taking so long, because I'm daydreaming, or I'm talking instead of doing my work, or I'm I wasn't so much, I don't remember being the kid that just stood up and got up and walked around the classroom all the time. I don't think that was me. I was definitely swinging in my chair though. It was always like, Alicia, stop swinging in your chair. Clicking pens if I had a clicky pen. I mean, in primary school we used pencils and stuff, but like chewing on my pencils, I guess. I don't know, things like that. You may want to have a think, I guess, a bit, like, that's where I'm getting at. You may want to have a think about the traits that you think you might have had in childhood, because that's usually a giveaway. If you look back to your childhood and can positively say, no, I never really had any of those traits, I'm only really experiencing some of these traits now, then there's a chance that it's possibly just stress. Now, in saying that, I do have to say that it's very easy to self-accommodate or to manage your ADHD symptoms that you didn't know were ADHD, all throughout childhood, maybe even teenagehood, maybe even at uni, in your uni years, because life is so simple. There's not much to worry about. You go to school, you come home, like, you do your homework. You go to church on the weekend with your parents, and like, everything is done for you. Your parents are cooking for you. They're making your lunches, and then maybe you do start making your own lunches at some point in high school because you just got to. And then, but how hard is that? That's not hard. Then you move out of home and you now have a bedroom to look after. And then for me, things started to really become a struggle. And I really noticed this. I even wrote songs about it. When I realized that I no longer had just a bedroom to look after, I had a whole house to look after. That was weird. And that was overwhelming. It had me frozen many times. The housework didn't get done. The housework would. It was more like the bedroom. just my bedroom. I was just like, I'll just chuck my clean clothes in there, just don't worry about them later type thing. And then the kitchen and the living room were okay, because, you know, if someone comes over, at least that'll be tidy type thing. And that was kind of, I think, when I started to sort of notice that I was kind of just chasing my tail a little bit in life. And then started working full time, and again that was still fairly easy, because you just go to work, come back. It's kind of like school. You just go to work, come back, and you're not home, so your home's not a great big mess. And then on the weekends you just chill out and just wash your clothes. Like that wasn't a hard life. And then, as you know, motherhood came along for me, and then that is hilarious. You know why I was sounding like a big fat monster? Because a phone call was coming in, it was coming through, and I'm just watching my phone ring, and I'm going, the video better not have stopped on me, like, but I totally thought it did. So total freak out. But yeah, thankfully the video has continued. All right, I'm nearly finished. I better call the friend back. Where was I up to? Feel like I was struggling. It didn't feel like a struggle. It felt hard, of course, because isn't that motherhood? Isn't that babyhood kind of thing? Like, I never really thought that I was in the depths of struggle at the time. Pretty much not until, you know, like, I got confronted about my housework, about the house being in such a state, and only then I was like, excuse me, like, I have a toddler, like, and then I was like, also I'm battling with depression, like, don't we all, like, you know? And it wasn't till then that I sort of started going, yeah, this actually really is hard for me. And again, it wasn't till the child started school, and I had the school run, and I just, at that point, I just came undone at the seams. Like, at that point, I was like, every day was an immense Everest style effort to just get in the car, pack that lunch, get the child to put her shoes on the way to school, get her to school, always late. And just every day I felt like I was scraping my skin off, like, because just that's how bad it felt. Every day I felt like I was going against every fiber of my being. And that's also when I went, I don't think I'm meant to be living this life, but I have a child of school age, so she should kind of go to school. Now, I do happen to be homeschooling now. That is not the reason why I homeschool, as you know. I thought I'd just put it in this video anyway, because I would have, if it was, I would have quit pretty early on, like within weeks, within months of the school. And but I gave it a good go for a year and a half, nearly 2 years. I think it was 2 years. Yeah, 2 years. So it should be pretty obvious that that's not why I homeschool. Oh, no, I homeschool because I want to sleep in. Yeah, I love sleeping in. So I better homeschool to sleep in. Anyways, my whole point in sharing all of that with you is that we can go so far in life. For those people who don't get diagnosed till later on in life, it's because they've managed. They either have self-accommodations, or they have the good supports in place unbeknownst to them, or because they live an ADHD-friendly life in the first place. And it's not till life gets just a little bit bigger and bigger and bigger and more complex and more involved that suddenly they fall at the seams. This seems to be a common experience for those who are diagnosed later in life, and that's how it happened for me. You know, I was just really struggling, like just not being able to keep up with everything, and everyone was like, oh, you're doing too much, or people were like, oh, we don't know how you do it, you must be superwoman, we kind of see you everywhere. And I was like, yeah, you do see me everywhere, and I am organizing this and organizing that and helping over here and homeschooling my child and doing the business for my husband and doing the side hustle, and I'm doing it all. But deep down I was like dying. I was dying. And then, of course, came across my diagnosis, and I went, sigh of relief. Like, now I know. So there's that as well to keep in mind. There is the adage, I guess, that if you have lots of people around you with certain neurodiverse neurodiversities, then there's an even bigger chance that you also have it, because we attract each other. I remember when I was asked that question, why is it, do you think, that you seem to have a lot of friends on the ASD spectrum? So not even ADHD, on the ASD spectrum. And I sort of went, I think it's because they feel comfortable with me, I guess, because I'm a really open kind of person, and I must be pretty approachable, I guess, to them. And of course, 5 years on from that conversation, I've sort of realized, well, not only am I actually diagnosed with ADHD, but I relate to a lot of ASD traits too. So there you go. So it all kind of makes sense and falls into place. Well, I hope you certainly enjoyed that. I hope that it was a bit informational and educational and helpful to you. So if you're on that kind of journey, I hope that I've given you some food for thought, or something to go away, maybe journal about, or maybe I've encouraged you to take the next step and make some inquiries for yourself. And I hope all up that you can gain clarity for your personal journey. Okay, bye.